Ray Leonard Jr. is the eldest son of boxing legend Sugar Ray Leonard. Growing up in a high-profile celebrity household allowed Ray the opportunity to travel the world and engage with leadership officials, billionaires, athletes, and entertainers. The experience provided him with worldly exposure to culture, diversity, personal conduct, and effective management. He now works with staffs and managers to strengthen inner capacity, navigate complex relationships, and manage organizational processes. He joined me this week to discuss his family lineage and how he's hopeful his work as a motivational speaker, a father, and a philanthropist continues to make a difference and carve out a path for the next generation to follow in his footsteps. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. Well, thanks so much, Ray. And if you're ready, I'll welcome you to the program. And I'm excited to talk to you all about your personal, professional life and everything in between. Great to be with you this morning, and thanks for a few minutes.
Sure.
So, Ray, I know that you've grown up in a famous household, and it's given you the ability to gain sort of a competitive business, entrepreneurial, and then life perspective. So, I'm wondering if we can start our conversation by you telling me how your upbringing helped you become the person you are today.
Well, I appreciate it, Kevin. I've had a miraculous life. One that started out with two teenage parents. My mother was 15, my father was 16 when I was born in Palmer Park, Maryland. And we didn't have much, and you would never think that our lives would turn out the way they are right now. My father had success in the Olympics back in '76 and won the gold medal. And all of a sudden, the nobodies that people didn't know who we were from Palmer Park, Maryland, the teenage parents and this young kid became household names. And when you have that kind of situation, you're kind of learning and growing as you go because you don't know any better. But it was amazing to be able to meet people from all of different backgrounds. From where I came from, I didn't, see anybody that looked different than me for a long time. And then when I started to meet the Queen of England, Nelson Mandela, Michael Jordan, it just opened my eyes up to a global perspective on life. And it's been a roller coaster ride ever since then.
Yeah, absolutely. And tell me, what sort of an impact has your father had on you there, buddy?
Oh, it's been amazing to watch the growth of someone that was so dedicated to a sport and also, an icon as far as how he carried himself with the media and with people in general. Had a major impact on what I did and how my career started to blossom because it made me believe that anything was possible. If you wanted it bad enough and you put your mind to it and you were willing to do the work, anything was possible. So that's always been kind of what my father has represented to me and given me that to know that, there's nothing that I can't do.
And I know, Ray, that you're big in creating an inclusive workspace in a world as well. Just to share a little bit about myself, I was born with what's called spastic quadriplegia cerebral palsy. It simply means that I don't have enough oxygen in my legs to walk normally, and I've also dedicated my life to promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion opportunities for folks with disabilities. So I'm fascinated to ask you, what, in your view, constitutes an inclusive world where everyone is included?
I mean, an inclusive world is when the opportunities and the respect is given to everybody. You know, when you have certain inalienable rights that we talked about, that everyone should be respected, everyone should be treated well, everyone should have opportunities. And I think that is kind of the core basis of the inclusion, is not separating someone because they may have a disability, or because they may be a different skin color, or because they are different. I think the greatest thing about us is our, DNAs are different, our backgrounds, our experiences are different. And I think the more we start to look at it and say, here, no, this makes us better as a people, better as a world, to be inclusive, to be able to accept the gifts and strengths of everybody, I think we'll be much better off. And so that's how I look at it, and that's how I envision it. And from me being able to deal with people from every single facet of life, it has just opened my eyes, and it makes you understand we are better together.
Collaboration ignites the opportunity for the invitation of equality and equity for all, and for leaders who embrace diversity and inclusion. Leonard says the return on that investment will be a heartfelt and hearty one, which will present leaders a chance to seize the opportunity to advance their business.
Yeah, I think that's one of the main thing. To be a great leader, you have to be a follower. You have to be able to follow and listen. Even the top presidents or the CEOs and prime ministers have to be coached and have to learn continuously. And if you have that kind of mentality, that you're always willing to learn, you always keep an open mind to be able to understand the plight of other people, that's what makes you become a great leader. And so when I'm having these conversations, we're all a product of our experiences as we grew up. And sometimes, if you don't know better, you don't do better. But you have to be one that wants to thrive and listen, and always be conscious of trying to be better, and trying to gain that knowledge of not just yourself, but knowledge of other people. And so when I have a lot of conversations with some of these corporate entities or different groups, it seems that sometimes their experience is all that they want to use, and not have to say, okay, I'm willing to understand and check out somebody else's perspective. So I think that is the first thing, is being open and honest. You also have some experience about helping leaders understand that they're in a position of power. They have certain responsibilities. So can you tell me about those? Yeah, sometimes the power, and having power and having responsibility is a big important job. Sometimes they say absolute power corrupts absolutely. The biggest thing is to know that you want to use your power for good, and to be able to benefit and help and grow others. Sometimes that power is so addictive, and the notoriety and all these different things, it's we're human, and it can make you think that you're bigger than someone else. But sometimes you have to humble yourself and understand that no one got there by themselves. No one is an all powerful, omnipotent being. We are humans. We're made in the image and likeness of we're all equal. So the biggest thing about, when you have power, you have to be humble. You have humble power. And I think that makes you a better leader, when you're actually humble and you're looking to use your power for good, and not for, to demean or perpetrate on others. Yeah, and Ray, I'm curious to ask you about your business ventures. I know that you're using your consulting business and your sports and entertainment business to make an impactful and meaningful difference. So I'm wondering if you could tell me all about it. Well, here's the blessing, is that, I've had training in diversity, and I've had a diverse life, and now my businesses and my interests are diverse. And so when I came out of college, I had a sports management degree. I became an agent for a long time, and my biggest thing was because I saw so many young people get taken advantage of by agents and by promoters, that I wanted to give back and actually educate them as a part of the business, which was something that a lot of the other older agents would tell me, like, hey, no, you don't want to give them that information because they may leave you or something like that, because they think they can do it on their own. But I had never feared that. I always wanted to give people as much information as possible so they know what they're getting into. And even in my consulting business, we go out and we do training for different companies, for DE&I. We do leadership training. I do motivational speaking. I go around the last 8 years before the pandemic hit. I would be at all the Navy and military bases around the world and speaking to the young people. And I think it's a responsibility when you're involved in different companies and organizations that you put people first and you're open and transparent. And every single business that I'm involved in, a venture studio that helps build small businesses, a company called blackowned.com that is trying to educate our Black community and try to in financial literacy and how to be great at home and building families and all these different type of things that normally we don't talk about. That's kind of at my heart. I want to make sure every single business I do is something that I'm passionate about.
Yeah, I always tell people, if you find your passion, you're not working, right? You're just making a difference, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's the beautiful thing about it. Yeah, you don't feel stress of getting out of the bed. I'm getting a little older now, so I do feel a little pain. But when I get up, I'm motivated. I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm ready to go change the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ray, there's a sign in my office that says that we're all given a platform to make a difference, and it's incumbent upon all of us to decide which direction you want to go. And I know that you have children, and you shared with me that you just dropped your son off at Grand Lake State to play football. So I'm wondering what sort of a legacy you want to leave in your family for your kids and for those that you have a chance to impact.
Yeah. So my goal in life is to, when someone's reading my eulogy at the end of the day, is to say that I made a positive difference and positive impact in people's lives. That's the one thing that I really want to hear. And I try to do it day to day in my own life, and then be an example and a beacon to others to say, that you can do this. There's always a decision, there's always a choice. Right? We wake up every single morning, we have a choice of, are we going to have a positive day or a negative day? All the factors that come in and impact that, those are nothing that we can control. So when I say the greatest thing about being present in the moment is knowing that there's always more to write. And so I was the first person in my family ever to go to college. That was my gold medal. I changed the trajectory. My daughter got an academic scholarship and graduated from Pepperdine University. My son, my oldest son, is going to college, and my two youngest kids, they're on the trajectory to go to college as well. So it changed the cycle, and that's what I want to be known for. Is that every day I get up, I look at the picture of my kids and my family on my mirror, and I say I want to be better for them and be better for myself every day. And was I better today than I was yesterday?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm also curious to know, what's the one lesson that you've taken from your father that you've implemented in both your parenting and personal life?
Resiliency. It's I guess a boxing metaphor that you're going to get knocked down. I mean, you're not going to just have a perfect life. There's always going to be obstacles and hurdles in your way. You're going to get knocked down. But like I told my son, it's like character is what you do. Your character shows when you have adversity, and how do you respond to that adversity, and how do you get up from your knockdowns? How do you show from in your worst moment, are you still a good person? That's one of the biggest things I look back, because there, when we have bad moments, we can turn into different people and be resentful and spiteful. But my advice is to hear, you're going to get knocked down, but you got to get back up and keep fighting.
Yeah, and Ray, I know that you're involved in several charitable initiatives, and I'm wondering why giving back is so important to you, and the inroads you're hoping to lead by being so generous with your time.
Yeah, I mean, it's giving back. It is very important since I've been blessed with a lot of opportunity, blessed with a lot of great things in my life, and so it makes me feel like I'm making a difference when I'm able to give back my time or give back some resources or knowledge to someone else that may be in need. And I think it's part of the three prongs of your life. You want to have that that success where you feel your personal success, but then you also want to have that space where you're saying, okay, I made a difference, I helped somebody else, and then you want to look at your internal in your internal space and say, did my family benefit from what I put together? That what I left behind, my legacy that I left behind, does that show what I actually really wanted to do? And I think it's very important. When I coach kids, I coach football and track and field, and when you go out there and you see the development, when someone is like a sponge and they need to have your knowledge or your input, and they grow from that. That is the part of giving back that you can't take away, and it's so empowering, and it makes you feel better as a person and makes others feel better. And I think that's kind of the key when I look at for philanthropy.
Yeah, yeah. When we talk about business success, also, I'm curious when you talk to business leaders, what's the one lesson that you try to leave with them when it comes to trying to establish sustainable success?
Uh, well, I mean, consistency and building a great culture. That's one of the things. If you create an atmosphere and transparency and a consistency that everybody loves, or that it works for you, and there is an even line that people know exactly what they're getting from you. That is one of the things that what are people saying about you when you're not around? That's kind of one of the things that I look at for businesses that I try to impart on them. What do they say about your company? What do they say about you as a person? Does this reflect exactly what you think it reflects? Because sometimes our image and our thought process of who we are is different from what everybody else sees. Right? Sometimes the mirror is twisted around. So that is the biggest thing, to be, if you're able to be transparent and you have no malice, and you're able to continuously build and show that here, this is who I am, and it reflects who you think you are. I think that is one of the biggest things that businesses and business owners have to be comfortable with, have those tough conversations sometimes.
Yeah, and just going back to your younger days for a second, I know that you were a two-star sport athlete in both football and track and field. So when you reflect on that part of your life, what immediately comes to mind?
Well, I look at it because everybody thought that I was going to follow my father's footsteps and be a boxer. And my family was a boxing family. My grandfather, who only had a sixth grade education, went to the Navy, and he was a boxer in the Navy. My uncle, my father's brother, was ranked #2 in the world as a boxer. Now my father did pretty well with a bunch of championships and gold medals, but I think my grandmother was the best boxer in the whole family. So when I look back about my sports career, I chose my path because it was something that I enjoyed doing. And for football, it made it feel like a family to me. And I love the camaraderie of working with others. And here, if I do my job well, then it affects the whole rest of the team. So now I played football at Ohio University, and then I ran track and field. I didn't really know I was going to be that good at track and field. It was kind of a last minute thing. I started when I was in, I think, 11th grade, and running hurdles. I never thought I could run hurdles, but my first time out, I ended up beating the defending state champion. So I had a pretty good run. I grew to love the hurdle game.
Absolutely. And my final question for you, Ray, is when you look back on your life and the imprint that you hope to leave, we talked about legacy earlier, but I'm wondering if there would be one resounding message that you would want to leave for the rest of the world about living life to the fullest and respecting every opportunity in which you're given.
Yeah, when they finally had the movie done of Ray Leonard Jr.'s life story, I wanted to end, or wanted to say at the end, that people walked away and said that he lived with no regrets, that he tried to make things right with people, that he was comfortable in his own skin, that he did the right thing when he knew the right thing to do, and if he didn't know the right thing to do, he was seeked the information to try to do the right thing. I don't want it to be a fairy tale story where nothing ever goes wrong in life. I wanted to show the ups and downs, the trials and tribulations. But at the end of the day, to be a role model to show that here, no matter what you're going through, no matter who you are, no matter what background you're going through, your life is your own personal life. That DNA that you have, we all have a different fingerprint for one reason, because our individual life was written. And I want it to be, inspirational to others to know that that you can do it. If I can do it, a little kid from Palmer Park, Maryland, one to two teenage parents can come up and have a life that I'm proud of. Anybody can do it.
Absolutely. The power of perseverance is a powerful thing. Absolutely. And just finally, Ray, if people want to get connected with you, what's the best way they can do that?
Yeah, so everything is RayLeonardJr.com is my website. You can go in there and find a lot of information, a little background on me, and anywhere on social media from Twitter to Facebook and Instagram, my handle is the same. It's at Ray Leonard Jr.
Fantastic. Ray, I'm better for having this conversation with you. I thoroughly enjoyed our time together, learning a little bit about your personal, professional life and everything in between. I really want to thank you for your time, energy, and efforts on my behalf. It's most appreciated.
Thank you, Kevin. Man, it's an honor to be on your show. I appreciate what you're doing. Keep doing your thing, and I'm always there to support. So all the best to you and your following and your fans. I'm a fan too.